thank you all for coming out for our Provost Candidate Forum. Today it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Kody Varahramyan from IUPUI. Kody is the Vice Chancellor for Research and has been there, I think, 8 years, I believe?
Yeah, 7.
7, excuse me.
Yes.
And prior to that, he was at Louisiana Tech University. His background is in electrical engineering, and he's just had a fabulous run at IUPUI, and don't be fooled by the fact that he's an engineer in research. He has a really broad spectrum suite of accomplishments and interactions all across the campus, and I'm hoping that he'll talk a little bit about that today and discuss his thoughts, his vision for UMKC. So without further ado, Kody.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, it's a great pleasure.
They are going to
They're
going to film it, so you might want to
go upstairs. Yeah. Okay. So do I need this if I go upstairs? I mean, maybe I should go up there for the videoing. So do I need this?
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So it's a great pleasure to be here. But before I start my presentation, so I can get a little feel for who my audience is, maybe those of you who are faculty members, can you please raise your hands? Okay. And those of you who are staff members, very good. And any students? Okay, almost, but no students. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. And anybody from the outside community, or I guess I meet them this evening probably. Yes. All right, so let me go on. Again, it's a great pleasure being here. As you know, I'm one of the finalists for the provost position. And the purpose of my presentation is, on one hand, to provide you my thoughts and ideas about the vision for UMKC, University of Missouri, Kansas City. And as part of that, also, I want to highlight a few things about myself and qualifications and background and that sort of thing, because I'm not sure how much any of you or each of you have seen my CV, to be familiarized with myself. So having said that, let us go ahead. Oh, yeah, I got the control here myself. All right, so I guess the basic question was, as a candidate for the provost position, what is your vision for this university, And when I gave it some thought, effectively I said, okay, at the very basic, bare essence level, what would be an appropriate vision? And so you see two statements there. The one on the top is the shorter, bare essence version, just what is the bottom line here, type of a thing. And then the next statement there is a little bit of a more elaborate version of my vision statement that in a better way explains different aspects of it. So the first, the short version, which hopefully would also be of the kind that when something is short and sweet, most of us can remember, And so the bare essence of the vision that I think for this university is can be expressed as a great university for a great city to start with. And of course, then there is the state and beyond. But to start with a great university for a great city. I mean, so the city we know is Kansas City, and for a city to be great, needs to have a great university. And that has been shown again and again in other places, including my present location, which is Indianapolis, and IUPUI, my current institution. And we have proof of that, and I already see proof of that already here. That a great city needs a great university as a key anchor institution for that city, and also vice versa. So the two entities, the city and the university, are really kind of supporting each other, helping each other, kind of moving each other forward, And of course, the university here also is not only for the city as well as for the state and going beyond the state. So the longer version of the vision statement would be a premier urban research university distinguished for the success of its students and its intellectual, economic, and cultural contributions to the citizens of Kansas City, the state, and beyond. So this would be my thought about the vision. And I guess the next slide actually is the actual vision and mission statement of the university, the way I found it on our on your webpage. And so let's see how does it compare. So the vision statement officially is to become a model urban research university characterized by signature graduate and professional programs, a dynamic undergraduate population, a highly diverse faculty, staff, and student body, and active engagement with the city and the region. You know? But the key part of the vision is model urban research university. And then, of course, as part of the vision, to lead in life and health sciences, to deepen and expand strengths in the visual and performing arts, to develop a professional workforce and collaborate in urban issues and education, and to create a vibrant learning and campus life experience. So hopefully everybody is aware of this, right? No, seriously. I mean that's one thing we should all be aware of wherever we are. What is the vision and mission of the overall institution, as well as what is the mission and vision of our individual unit? You know, and especially, and usually the overall institutions, you know, they have visions and mission statements. You know, but if the individual unit does not have one that is written up, you will be well served to work with your colleagues there and write up a vision and mission statement. You know, because that's very important. Okay, so now I want to say a few words about myself so that you can also get a better idea in case I was to come here as your next provost, you know, I mean, what kind of a person you'll be dealing with. So I have my bachelor's from University of Illinois, which is, of course, in the Midwestern region of United States, as Missouri is. I have my graduate degrees, master's, and PhD from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. These were all in electrical engineering. And as I was getting my PhD, I realized that I loved having a professional career in a university setting, but I also somehow got the idea that, well, maybe to be a good faculty member and this and that, maybe I should get some years of industry experience. And again, I'm not saying this is for everybody, you know, but this was my own thought at the time. So the original idea was to work in industry for 5 years. And actually that happened. I went to IBM. But after 5 years, I had small kids and liked my industry job, I guess, too much and this and that. So I stayed there another 5 years. So I was there 10 years. But at that point, I decided to go back to my original plan, to go to academia. And with respect to academic experience, I have experience with 2 different university systems, one in Louisiana, one here in the Midwest, IUPUI. And while, of course, there have been similarities between the 2 universities, there have also been noticeable differences. One is, for example, in a rural setting. IUPUI is, of course, quite a bit in an urban setting. We also call ourselves an urban research university. Effectively, in terms of administrative experience, I've started as program chair of electrical engineering. Then I was academic director of multiple science and engineering programs. Then at some point I became associate dean for research and graduate studies. Again, this was for a college that we call College of Engineering and Science. At some point while I was at Louisiana Tech, I became the director of this university-wide institute. And that was quite a great experience because at that point, effectively, you may say, my eyes opened up to going, in other words, past the departmental boundaries, past even the college boundaries, or what is now really a big university here, and working with different colleges, schools, departments, and how to effectively develop partnerships and initiatives, you know. And so as a result of that, while being director of that university-wide institute, by the time I left, we had developed 5 distinct centers of excellence under that institute. And to do that, I had to negotiate and work with deans, department heads, and others to effectively have joint appointment of their faculty in the institute. We would have joint hiring and all sorts of collaborative efforts, and this was with multiple schools and colleges, not just my original College of Engineering and Science. So as part of that, I worked with people and colleagues in the College of Applied and Natural Sciences, with the College of Business, as well as also we had some efforts going on with College of Education. Also, the way I developed that institute, of course, a key aspect of the mission was research. But research was not the only aspect of it. We also had to support the academic mission of all of our partnering departments and schools and colleges. So effectively, then we would work very closely with those units in terms of making sure that the joint faculty hires, they would be also doing appropriate teaching, meeting the departmental needs. And as part of that, also, actually, we were able to develop, when you have a place when people from all these diverse disciplines come together and start to get to know each other and in a natural way, sort of start developing collaborations and partnerships, not only will strengthen them and allow them to pursue and be more successful in their research efforts, but also be able to develop really some new, novel sort of academic programs. For example, at that institute, we were able to develop the first Bachelor of Science degree in nanosystems engineering. The first in the world, or first in the nation. And when and this was at Louisiana Tech, and when the alumni of MIT heard about that, in a sort of a news article, they lamented that, I guess they lamented to MIT, that the first Bachelor of Science in Nanosystems Engineering should have been developed and launched in Cambridge, Massachusetts, rather than in Ruston, Louisiana. But that was the case. But that shows that almost doesn't matter where you are. When you bring together the right structure and the right set of partnerships, you can really do well. You can really succeed. And as a result of that, wasn't just the institute that was flourishing and doing well. It was also all the individual departments and schools and colleges that we were partnering with. And they were able to attract and recruit the kind of faculty and students that otherwise they would have a heck of a time doing so. So anyway, since my time is limited, I better move on. Then by going to IUPUI, I was there in my capacity as the Vice Chancellor for Research. And of course, research was my main area of emphasis. And in a moment, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, what things we did or not, But the other key aspect of it was that not only at Louisiana Tech, through that institute responsibility and opportunity, my eyes had opened up and I was exposed to working with people and things at the university-wide level. And that, by the way, went on for about 8 years. But even more so over the last 7 years at IUPUI, because as a Vice Chancellor for Research, I'm also fortunate enough to be on the Chancellor's cabinet, And we have a really great Chancellor, and on one hand, he has mentored me, I think, very well. On the other hand, I also have a good group of fellow Vice Chancellors, And the Chancellor, me and all these Vice Chancellors, we meet on a regular basis, weekly, Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. And so as part of that process, I guess the point I want to make is that I was even further got exposed to the functioning and all the areas within a university, you know. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with IUPUI. Maybe my next slide I say a little bit more about IUPUI. But I dare to say here that it's the most complex university in this nation. And later on, if we have a little time, I can tell you all the reasons, you know, but it is, you know. But it's really a great place, it's a great training ground for me and for anybody else going there. And by the way, budgetarily, they're also on the RCM system, you know, which I think your campus is. And this morning, somebody was telling me that, oh, IUPUI's RCM is more mature than here's, the RCM here. But anyway, we can debate that too. But my point is that, you know, the other big realization is that when you work closely with your other fellow vice chancellors, like responsible for academic affairs, responsible for student affairs, responsible for fiscal affairs, responsible for facilities, even stuff like parking, for example. You know, and by the way, parking is very important, at least at IUPUI. Now, I don't know about here, you know. But if you are in close proximity and on a weekly basis, you discuss all those issues, you know. It doesn't take too long to realize that a university is well, I can draw two analogies. You know, one analogy is like a big family, you know, and you have like say a family with loving parents and a bunch of kids, and a typical university these days is neither too rich and neither too poor, you know. And in that analogy, then, if you really think about it, you know, that loving set of parents, they cannot take care of all the kids all the time exactly, buy them new shoes for everybody at Christmas time, let's say, you know. Well, maybe some kids get a shoe for Christmas, the rest of them get it for Easter or some other occasion like that, you know. But seriously, another analogy is a university can also be compared to a human body, you know. And we can say, oh, well, maybe the brain part is very important, or the heart is very important, or something. Yeah, of course, brain is very important, the heart is important, but what about your kidney, you know? Or what about the parking services in that analogy? If something happens there, believe me, everybody will be upset, or the human body will just lose its kind of equilibrium there, you know? So the bottom line point I want to make here is that you know, for a university to function well, all these different parts have to really come together and function well with each other. And they're all important, you know. And I feel that I've been fortunate to be in that environment for the past 7 years, you know, to kind of be exposed to that. And that would be also my inclination as a provost here, to kind of, as much as possible, you know, have that kind of an approach here. Okay. So as far as give you some ideas about what kind of experiences I have gained over the years. At both institutions, I have been involved heavily with strategic planning and resource development. And maybe a little later, you know, during the Q&A period or some other time, I can give you more explanation, but because of the shortness of time, I just move on. At both institutions, also I've been involved with the development of novel undergraduate and graduate programs. I already told you about the Nanosystems Engineering Bachelor of Science program. But also I've been involved with development of graduate programs at the master's level as well as PhD level. Also involved with the growth in student enrollment. You know, like at IUPUI, similar to here, you know, you want to, between now and 2020, raise your student body by another 4,000 or 5,000, you know. And we also had such aspirations when I first got there about, say, 7 years ago. And one approach that we took was through this initiative. We call it our enrollment shaping initiative, you know. And so there were some steps that we took there to kind of meet those goals and aspirations. Also then, I've been involved with the development of some major initiatives, including centers and institutes and so forth, and I'll give you a few examples in the next slide. Other areas of emphasis that I have pursued, for example, is in the area of research commercialization and intellectual property generation. And I already mentioned, I've been fortunate to have been being exposed to the Chancellor's Cabinet and exposed to all areas of importance across the university. I have also dealt with complex budgetary systems and issues and problems and all sorts of concerns like that. Also, I have experience with diversifying revenue sources and also doing fundraising and develop type of work. And last but not least, I'm also proud of my 10 years of experience in industry. And realizing while industry and universities are kind of a little different from each other and operate differently and think differently and all of that, but yet, some aspects of that experience I think has been very helpful to me. Okay, a little bit more about IUPUI. For those of you who are not familiar, well, first let's talk with the picture on your right side is the area view of the sort of the peninsula there that houses the campus. On the right side of the peninsula is the White River, and then there is a sort of a little canal on the other side of it. In the background there is downtown Indianapolis, so we are right next door to the downtown. And on our campus, actually, we also have the second largest medical school in the nation, which is part of IUPUI. It's the Indiana University Medical School, And right on that campus, actually, we also have 4 hospitals. 2 of them belonging to the university and 2 of them not belonging, but yet we have close partnerships and collaborations. So one of them is the VA Hospital, Veterans Administration Hospital. The other one is the Eskenazi Hospital. It used to be Wishart, and they sort of built a new site on our campus. They actually switched locations and all of that. So Mr. and Mrs. Eskenazi provided a big funding, so of course it's named after them, in honoring them, the Eskenazi Hospital. But then we have, belonging to the university, the Riley Children's Hospital. I hope some of you may have heard about them. I mean, they're nationally ranked. And also we have the Indiana University Medical Hospital. But besides the 4 hospitals right on our campus, almost next door to us, then we have some other hospitals. The largest one is what used to be the Methodist Hospital, but now sort of Methodist and a bunch of other hospitals, and in some partnership with Indiana University, they have formed this health system that is known as IU Health. I mean, they are separate from our university, but they have connections and we have close partnerships and collaborations. So I guess the reason I'm telling you all of this is that similar to this university here, where some key areas of emphasis are health and life sciences, IUPUI also, very key area of emphasis is health and life sciences. So we are Urban Research University, as you're here, and health and life sciences. Of course, we also, like you do, value the arts, and humanities, and many other areas. Okay, so we are also effectively the most comprehensive university in Indiana with respect to the number of schools and colleges that we have. And 17 of the schools and colleges that we have, they are effectively from Indiana University. And 2 of them are from Purdue University. And what makes IUPUI a little bit difficult to understand is, okay, how is this going to, or how has this worked out so far, well, in a complex manner, how about that? But from some points of view, since the majority of the schools are Indiana University, and as a matter of fact, we are, from Indiana University's point of view, we are one of the 2 core campuses that they have, IUPUI and Indiana University Bloomington. And we are urban, Bloomington is rural campus. And then the management of IUPUI, the entire IUPUI's management and administrative structure, everything is Indiana University. You know. So in a simple-minded way, we can say that IUPUI is almost, we can call it Indiana University, Indianapolis, with 2 schools from Purdue University, one being engineering, one being science. And oh, by the way, those 2 so-called Purdue schools, their management, their budgets, their policies, people's benefits, retirements, you name it, everything is based on Indiana University's policies and management and budgets and all of that. You know, but still makes it a little bit difficult to understand. You know, how does that operate? Anyway, so we have over 250 degree programs. I already mentioned we are under the management of Indiana University. We have, with respect to faculty, about 2,500 faculty, and this does not include our staff. I think the staff number is someplace in the 3,000 to 4,000 type of a number. We have over 30,000 students, about 22,000 plus are undergraduates, and then about 8,000 are graduate and professional students. And the annual budget is about $1.2 billion. And with respect to research funding, we are in the $300 million range. Okay, and so IUPUI is Indiana University's home base, home campus for statewide programs in medicine, law, dentistry, nursing, which is very similar to what you have here. Medicine, law, dentistry, nursing. Now you have pharmacy here. We don't have pharmacy, but we have health and rehabilitation sciences and also social work, which is our sort of health and life sciences schools. But then also we have nationally recognized programs in art and design, business, education, engineering and technology, informatics and computing, liberal arts, philanthropy, physical education and tourism management, public and environmental affairs, public health, and science. So that's, in a nutshell, what IUPUI is. And it has been emerging also as a top urban research university and increasingly establishing a reputation nationally for the kind of work we do, including in the areas of health and life sciences, as well as other areas like arts and humanities. Okay, now some of the recent major accomplishments relating to research are listed here. We have been fortunate to get funding from the National Institutes of Health for the development of the Indiana Clinical and Translational Sciences Institute. And this has been actually, initially it was like a 5-year program for $30 million. And we were fortunate that last year we were able to renew it, and it was quite a competitive process for renewal. There were some other big name universities that actually did not get renewed. And so that meant that now we have funding for another 5 years for $30 million, so the total funding is $60 million for 10 years. And I should also mention that this is one of those examples where if you want to bring in such large projects and initiatives, often you cannot do it just by yourself as a university, no matter how big you are, or how great you are. In this case, our 2 other key partners are Purdue University and University of Notre Dame, and it's a real partnership there, and because of that, when you show to the sponsors, NIH, that this is how their funds were used, and these 3 partners really worked with each other, collaborated, and did all this great stuff. We actually got, for the renewal proposal that we sent in, we got almost like a perfect score. We were just 1 point away from having a perfect score that NIH would give for funding, and so no wonder we got funded for that. Another major recent initiative is the one on essentially doing concussion research, and this is funded by the Department of Defense and NCAA, and this one here is for $30 million for 3 years. And again, this one here, we have two other big partners. We are the home base for the initiative, but the other two big partners are University of Michigan and Wisconsin. Okay, some other examples. Our School of Medicine has partnered with IU Health, and through this partnership, IU Health has committed $75 million for 5 years to support the initiatives that we have in the health and life sciences areas, and we have also reciprocated that with matching funds. Another example, we have this Eye Institute that through philanthropic means from Mr. and Mrs. Eugene and Marilyn Glick, we were able to receive funding to effectively launch the institute, beautiful building and facilities and all of that. But also the deal was that we would hire faculty, we would take good care of them, but they also had to produce. And indeed they have done so. So this year, I think, well, these are 2014 numbers actually. The combined sort of funding that has come into the institute from federal agencies and other sources is about $15 million. And last but not least, we have another major center, the Melvin and Brent Simon Cancer Center. And within the Cancer Center, there are different areas of cancer that is being researched. Breast cancer is of course there, pancreatic cancer and some other areas. But for breast cancer, for example, the Vera Bradley Foundation, they have given us multiple support, in recent times, and so brings up the amount to about $35 million. Now, I have many other examples, but these were some of the larger ones that I wanted to mention. Now, in terms of some of the initiatives that I have been instrumental in developing, these are a sort of a list of some of those initiatives. And in essentially all cases, it was not that, oh, I just was such a big, great thinker and thought of these great ideas and let's do this and we'll be successful, The way each of this happened was because of listening to our campus community as well as to our external community and identifying what are challenges, opportunities, how can we leverage some of our existing strengths, and build on them and achieve bigger and better things, and then effectively invest and develop the right initiative to meet those needs. So the first one in a nutshell is our Signature Centers initiative that has allowed our campus community to develop new centers and institutes, And as a result of that, many of them have been able to effectively become very successful and achieve the ideal goal that we had for them, to be very successful, become national and internationally known, and also, by the way, attract external funding, which supports them, their schools, as well as the whole campus, And again, I have some examples that maybe some other time I can tell you a little bit more about. The other initiative, Arts and Humanities Institute, another one that I feel very good about. This came about, again, from feedback I got from our Arts and Humanities faculty that felt a little bit neglected or a little bit not having enough resources to do their scholarly work and artistic work and too much teaching and all of that. So, and it's a very long story, but I was able to bring together a number of deans from the appropriate schools and develop a partnership there where both from the central campus level through my office as well as from them, we would come up with this institute, which in the long run then actually was created in such a way that would also save money to the schools. And that was one key element that I was able to then convince the deans to come in an RCM system to kind of partner in this, And each year they have to put something into it, and each year when we go back to them and say, okay, do you want to renew it again? No problem, because now we have done it long enough that they see the results, they see the impact on their faculty, on their accomplishments, and on them being able to attract good faculty, retain them, and all of that, and so overall, some of their expenditures and cost has also come down, while the name and reputation of their schools, their faculty, and the whole university has gone up. Another area that we had strength and there was opportunity to further grow what we were doing has been the STEM area. So that has led to the STEM Education Research Institute. And also that's a partnership with 3 schools that we have in my office. So that's the School of Science, the School of Engineering and Technology, and the School of Education, and my office. So practically each of these initiatives, they are in an RCM system, you really have to work closely with each of your deans there, and if you come up with a win-win situation, a good business case, usually, people kind of, sometimes they're skeptical, but especially once you have your first or second example that starts working and they see, the outcome from that, then it becomes easier to convince people as far as developing new sort of inter-school type of initiatives. So anyway, the IUPUI Imaging Research Initiative, a similar situation. We had some strengths across campus, but things were sort of scattered and not cohesive and all of that. But by sort of further integrating things and people talking to each other and collaborating, then the outcome of that was far more than each of these individual parts working on their own. Okay, the next one, Urban Health and Wellbeing Initiative. That's actually came about from our strategic planning. We felt that we are in an urban setting and we had the responsibility to help out as best as we could to the urban health and well-being of our city there, and also come up with a model that could be replicated in other settings. And other initiatives, but let me, because of shortness of time, let me just go to the last initiative there and make a point. So this is what we call the Innovation to Enterprise Initiative, and this is the one that we wanted to effectively grow the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship on one hand among our faculty and academic programs and all of that, but on the other hand also with our students, and also these, as much as all the other initiatives, we realize that things are interconnected. Remember I said in a university everything is interconnected, so innovation to enterprise, okay, it's not that we develop something, this is for faculty, that's for students. We said, well, if they are interconnected, then they should also kind of help each other and achieve certain things there, So as part of that, some parts of the program, we effectively have programs where we can bring students and faculty together in sort of interdisciplinary teams, getting exposed to certain areas where they can contribute to the development of some innovative approaches or processes or procedures or whatever. And that's not enough. And then they have to think of ways to kind of either see the commercial potential or the potential to do some social good or social advancement. There has to be some good coming out of it, And as part of that also, we sort of have a student competition every year now, let's see, the ideas solving social and economic challenges student competition, where we encourage our students, to compete and usually we get many applications, then we narrow it down to the 12 best ideas. Actually this year we had 16, we had so many good ideas that we couldn't drop them. But so anyway, then we have a panel of judges, some people from universities, some people from outside, and we give real prizes, real monetary prizes, to the students. But that's not only just, I would say, is the only thing, or it's not enough there. But even what is even more important is that we offer the students and the groups with the best ideas to help them out to implement them, you know. And then effectively we take those ideas and take it to the first initiative that I call Innovation to Enterprise Central. You know, so some of the projects that students work on are provided by our faculty. But some other projects are actually developed by our own students. You know, and in those cases, actually, we bring some faculty experts that somehow relate to those areas, so they can act as mentors and help them out and all of that. You know, and not surprisingly, I mean, that has been quite a popular program. You know, and at the same time, you know, through this initiative, we wanted to grow our research commercialization efforts. So we did some investment to bring in some appropriate staff to help out our faculty and sort of, you know, give them some guidance as to how to optimize themselves with respect to research commercialization. And we even created an internal grant program to kind of support that. And also we monitored our progress every year for the last 4 or 5 years when we launched this initiative, you know. And by monitoring our progress, looking at different data and indicators, like how many patents the university has produced every year, or how many technology licenses were granted, and how many new startup companies were formed, and all of that. Each of those indicators, each year the numbers went up. And that was not just by accident. You know, I mean, it was a direct reflection of this initiative here. Okay, so effectively, and I don't want to take, I'm not sure how am I doing with time. 10 minutes? Oh, it's already 45 minutes? Oh, okay, so I need to wrap up. Okay, so there are some other areas that I've been involved with, like development and optimization of certain units and programs and services, you know, and this is a listing of that, you know, in the area of research development, strategic initiatives, professional development programs for our faculty, you know, and proposal development and grant writing services that are very popular and our faculty like. I mentioned already research commercialization and economic development support, and emphasis on as well on doing research work with industry. And last but not least, we also have a sizable program, set of programs and efforts where we expose our students to the undergraduate research experience. So let's see, and these are, I guess, couple of the internal grant programs that we develop. I mentioned one of them has to do with Arts and Humanities Initiative. Another one, the second one there, developing diverse researchers. That's really to support the diversity of our campus. And that has been quite successful, you know, and effectively diversity here means depending on the program and where you are, it could be women and underrepresented groups. The next one there is the Forces program is for research commercialization. And the bottom program, the Empower one, is actually a mentoring program that we put together. And that program is open to the entire campus population, our faculty. But at the same time, we have encouraged our underrepresented groups to participate, you know, and that has been quite successful. Okay, and I guess this part, I wanted to come back and effectively acknowledge that you have a strategic plan, and some of the key goals are to raise your student population by about 4,000 or 5,000, improve your graduation rates, and so forth. And my priorities, if I came here, would be effectively academic excellence, student success, faculty and staff success, and here let me also emphasize staff success. You know, faculty success, no question about it. You know, we have to do everything to help them out, but staff success, that's very important too. You know, I mean, they are a key aspect of university life. We want to have an inclusive campus environment. And again, I have a track record that shows that these are not just words, but I have really done something about it. Also, we want to have the strongest possible engagement with Kansas City here. Of course, we want to grow research and economic development, increase the sources of revenue, and effectively also leverage and enhance the existing areas of strength, which would be health and life sciences and visual and performing arts. And this is, I promise you, is I think my last or the one before my last slide. But I think this is very important. If you just allow me, I want to explain this. I mean, if the university here, let's say you want to raise your student population by 4,000 or 5,000 and do these bigger and better things, then the university has to distinguish itself with respect to all these other universities, because everybody wants to get more students, everybody wants to be better, everyone wants to do all this stuff. We all say the same thing, So then we have to look within the university and say, okay, what do we have here that maybe some other universities in the region or in the nation they don't have, And how can we distinguish ourselves? So when we go out there, and we also, as part of this, we want to brand ourselves, we want to market ourselves, then we can truly, say, yeah, I mean, you come to University of Missouri, Kansas City because of these reasons, So, and one way to perhaps brand this could be that we could say, okay, especially if you look at the student part and the student success part, and similar things could be applied for the rest, So we can say that we want to provide students at UMKC the UMKC advantage, the UMKC advantage. But then people say, okay, what is the UMKC advantage? Then we can say, okay, at least based on my line of thinking, and this is open to talking to each other and refinements and all of that, But based on my line of thinking, the UMKC advantage could be, and I'm sure you already have many of these elements, but maybe it needs to be further optimized and improved and so forth, The UMKC advantage will be that students coming here will receive quality education at affordable prices. Now, this is really, whether we like it or not even, this is something that, especially the affordable prices part, is a national demand by parents and students, So affordable prices is very important. But in my mind, however, it needs to be, I mean, we also need to have quality education, So the best scenario to have is quality education at affordable prices. Yeah, you can get quality education at other places, but how are the affordable prices, The second element would be, we also tell students that the UMKC advantage is to stay on track for on-time graduation. That we have all these programs and services and all this stuff we do, that we do everything we can to get you on track for on-time graduation. And of course, you as a student have to rise to the occasion as well. But on our part, we do everything we can to help you out. We also do everything we can to get you in the right career path upon graduation. Whether you decide to start employment someplace or go to graduate school or a professional school. So this means for the short term, when you graduate, we make sure we do our best so that you are prepared to get a good job in your field and not to get a menial job, God knows where, in a Walmart or whatever else. Not to pick on Walmart, but just to give an example. And the last point is that short-term, preparing somebody for the short-term success is not enough. We also have to prepare them for the long-term success, for lifelong learning and professional advancement. And so along those lines, I highlight what would be some strategic actions that one has to take to achieve that so-called UMKC advantage. I have listed them here, and I think that's my last slide, but maybe I can leave it here in my presentation. And if you want to ask me any questions about this part or any part of the presentation, I'll be happy to do so. And I thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry if I exceeded a little bit my time. Thank you.
Please use the microphone. That would be great.
Thank you for that presentation. And I'm a little bit familiar with IUPUI. I graduated from IU Bloomington some years ago.
So I better be careful here.
And it's a great place, and you demonstrated all the different kinds of things that have been going on there. And maybe I missed it at the beginning, but I want to hear from you why you want to come here to UMKC.
Sure, that's a very good question. Effectively, you know, at IUPUI, I further added to my experience and credentials and qualifications and all of that, you know. And bottom line is that, you know, I'm also very happy to be at IUPUI, you know. I'm also the kind of person that, you know, if you develop a bunch of initiatives and do this and that, you know, if at some point gets to the point of maintaining them, you know, then I feel that, well, and also I build a structure, like a leadership structure, whether I drop dead the next day or not, things will survive, things will be fine, you know. So I feel that I want to, whether I'm at IUPUI or come here, be in a situation, be at a position where I can now achieve some things at the higher level of responsibility and impact, you know. So do maybe bigger level of good, and at the same time, sort of, you know, be like a sort of a professional growth and advancement for me, you know. And based on that, also, you know, looking at UMKC being an urban location, I have seen a bunch of similarities there, and I saw quite a bit of opportunities, meaning that on one hand, I have seen a lot of good stuff going on here, and on the other hand, I also have become more and more familiar with some of the challenges you have, you know, but that's fine, you know, but because that's an environment that maybe I'm crazy or something, but I like to be in an environment where maybe, you know, by partnering and working with other people, we can help each other and do some good, you know, and that's sort of a motivating factor for me.
Hello, my name is Ida Yadeo. I'm the president of Student Government Association. First, I'd like to thank you for coming. We are definitely in need of a great representation and a provost here at UMKC. My question has more to do with, during your presentation, you did speak a lot about what you've done at IUPUI. And I was just wondering, can you give me a synopsis of your vision, purpose, and mission that you want to that you would like to instill at UMKC?
Sure. Well, going back to my first slide, I mentioned I had two vision statements, you know, and I said that sometimes when a vision statement is short, we can remember, you know, and get the essence of it. Well, basically, a great university for a great city, you know, and they go hand in hand. I mean, that's my basic vision here. You know, I see that the two entities are kind of interdependent on each other, you know, and frankly, you know, sometimes also when some people are within a place, they get bogged down by things, you know, and they won't have the same view as somebody from outside coming in with a fresh mind looking at things, you know. And while yes, you have some problems and challenges, I also see a gold mine here. I also see already a bunch of great stuff going on, you know, and effectively a situation where if we can further develop some of those initiatives, for example, one area that could help if we can develop more partnerships within the university, the different units, and also listen to the outside community, you know, and see what are their point of view and what are their wishes and aspirations and what is their vision for UMKC. Yes.
Hi, my name is David Lindahl. I'm with the library. I had a question. I'm sure that as you were preparing for this interview, you did a lot of reading about UMKC. You learned more about the university.
Yes.
And I'm imagining that as you were reading, you were noticing some of the strengths that we had and some of the challenges that we faced. And I imagine that you had some aha moments making connections between your experience and some of those strengths and some of those challenges where you might take a strength and um, um, leverage that strength
Yes.
with your experience.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you could talk about some specific aspects of UMKC that gave you aha moments connected to your
Mhm.
background and experience
Yes.
and interests as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have quite a bit of strengths, let's say, in health and life sciences areas. Quite a bit of strengths in the arts, visual and performing arts. And I'm sure there are many other areas in between that I'm not aware of, but there is strength, Look, I'll be very frank here. I think the bottom line is that at least one area that if one gives a little bit more attention, can really noticeably improve things is by having a closer sort of partnership and connection between campus, central administration, and the individual schools. And I've seen that also at IUPUI. It's kind of that kind of a scenario improving over the years. And as we improved it, then we had more and more examples to show to any skeptical person that, look, this kind of an approach really works, and then you have more people kind of coming along, So that would be my basic approach, in terms of building on some strengths and so forth. Because, this day and age, if you want to do big and great things, I mean, no individual unit, whether it's at the central level or individual school level, you have enough resources to tackle all of that. There is no way. But if you pull your resources together, you can build up some. For example, if you're in the area of health and life sciences or engineering and physical sciences, you need a lot of lab space and instrumentation and all of that. Sometimes, schools spend all this money in startup funds, in hiring new faculty, and they give a lot of money to individual faculty, and more or less they're on their own, And well, why can't a good part of this money be used to build up common shared facilities, So when the new faculty comes in, he or she also is not left all alone, even if they have a big chunk of money in their hands, And if you have a common shared facility, you can provide also. You can afford to have at least some personnel to maintain the place, to keep it, so the individual faculty don't have to worry about it. They can really spend time on research or whatever else they need to be doing, And in the long term also, the individual schools and even the campus central administration, you have to spend far less money in your, say, startup packages, So this is just one example that if you take this kind of an approach, in the long term, it can save you money. Each of the individuals impacted by from the faculty to the administrators of schools and the rest of campus, everybody will be winners, And also, you have improved the chances of success for your faculty to do well and hopefully get promoted and tenured, and for campus to get a bigger name and all of that. Yes.
Hello. One of the issues, a major issue in all education in the U.S. these days is what is the fate of tenured and tenure-track faculty in America?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what's happened at PUI, say, during your time there, to the number or percentage of tenured and tenure-track faculty as a fraction of the 2,500, I think, faculty you say are present there, and how you feel about it, or what was your role in all of that?
Well, overall, I can tell you this much: they have not diminished. And I would say we have a good distribution there, with respect to faculty who are tenured and in tenure-track positions, and then also we have some faculty who are like a clinical faculty or research appointments or adjuncts and that sort of thing.
So, would you happen to know the fraction or ratio or anything of that sort?
For the whole university, I guess right at the top of my head, probably I won't have accurate numbers. Yeah, but I can tell you that we make sure that after all, remember, I mean, like I was saying, quality education for affordable prices, So that also means that we also have to have good quality faculty who are committed to being there and do a good job, and at the same time we do the best to take care of them and give them the adequate resources to get their jobs done.
Questions for us?
Well, okay, yeah, the basic question I've been asking during my different sessions today, from your point of view, what you perceive to be some of the big challenges as well as opportunities at UMKC, and what would be your expectations for your next provost? Other than for him or her to walk on water. Yes.
I think the expectation that we have of the next, my name is Kody Varahramyan, I'm the chair of faculty senate.
Yes.
I think the expectation that we have of the next provost is to have a collaborative relationship, to participate in shared governance,
Mm-hmm.
and to move us forward. We've been rather stagnant between budget cuts, less money from the state, some of the personal challenges and campus challenges we've had here. I think we're looking forward to someone that will work with us, listen to us, and include us
Mhm.
in the decision-making process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And quite frankly, I'm not saying this to just please you, but frankly, that's something that I have absolutely no problem with. Again, going back to that analogy of the human body, and each organ is there and very important to what they do and everything else. I mean, faculty governance is an integral part of any university, and all the other parts, including the administration part and the faculty governance, we have to all work together like this. Not to mention that I also, first and foremost, consider myself a faculty member. So I also appreciate, have that kind of appreciation myself. So anybody else, any opportunities, challenges, any advice for the next provost?
Not advice.
Recommendations or?
No, just a comment. It's not clear to me that our potential students recognize the difference in what they get if they come to a research university as opposed to a regular college
Mhm.
or even a community college.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you think of state what the difference is?
Okay, excellent question, and somehow comes up with what I was mentioning before about how we want to identify ourselves. If we want to say, okay, what is the UMKC advantage, and then effectively have a branding and frankly a marketing approach. And that's actually was something that we did at IUPUI. And this started about at least 5-6 years ago. You have to also spend some time and effort. In other words, you shouldn't just go out there and, okay, this is the idea we have, let's launch it, One has to do a little bit homework, of course, from within campus, we have to consult with each other and so forth, reach some shared vision. We have to also talk and consult and seek advice from the community, And in some cases, even maybe bring in some professionals, to consult with them, and then effectively develop a campaign where we say, okay, UMKC advantage or UMKC whatever next word would be means this. If you come to UMKC, this is what we are, and then as part of that, we have to give examples. We have to really show, not just by words, but also by what we have, that indeed that's what we are, And also, that's one of those things that one can start at some level and sort of grow it and keep adding to its momentum and all of that, But I think if you don't have already some systematic plan or approach for that, if I came here, again, I wouldn't just go out there and just do something without consulting with anybody. I would consult with a bunch of people, but if there was enough agreement, that would be one of the key areas. This really would be a strategic area to pursue. Yeah.
One of the advantages of being at UPC's location,
Mhm.
an urban environment.
Yes.
And I think that our students could take advantage of that, and that's part of our priority. So what are your ideas for urban engagement, and what would be part of your plan to to promote urban
Okay.
engagement?
Okay, do we have 3 hours at least here? Well, no, no, serious. Oh, you have another?
No, I take 2 ideas and then I ask another question.
Okay, in my mind right away I'm saying, okay, how can I, in few words, say all this stuff I want to say? Well, you see, IUPUI actually even before I got there, so I surely don't want to get credit for this aspect of it, historically, I guess, they have been very much engaged with the community, And actually, over the last several years, they have also won big nationally recognized awards, for urban engagement and all of that, But urban engagement, there are so many different parts to it, and if you look at the urban community, we have, say the business community, the industry community, the nonprofit community, the city, just as a city government. Then you have neighborhoods, you have associations, you have groups, all sorts of things, And so, again, for each university and the urban community, they have to sit down and say, okay, in this case, for this city and this university and the programs and interest areas we have, which areas sort of are good matches and we can pursue, Now, I'll tell you one more thing. To take things to the next level for us at IUPUI, about a little longer than a year ago, when we were revisiting our strategic plan, our really campus community, we had different meetings and town halls and roundtables and you name it, So the idea emerged, and this was really from the campus community. We need to be doing big and bold things here, big and bold, And as we were discussing that, we were saying, okay, what is big and bold, Then at the federal level, we also heard that the federal government was saying, we want universities to tackle what they described as grand challenge initiatives, We said, oh, okay, well, maybe big and bold and grand challenges are somehow similar idea or concept, To make a long story short, now in our strategic plan, a key aspect of it is pursuit of grand challenge initiatives at IUPUI. And as part of that, the campus now has decided its first grand challenge, which we expect that may take many years, is what we call it our grand challenge on urban health and well-being, And as part of that, then of course, urban health, okay, what is now urban health and the well-being part? So it's a very vast topic, but now we are in the stage of narrowing things down, looking at what stages and phases to kind of do what. And also as part of that, we have been closely working with the city government, with other entities in the city, for-profit, not-for-profit, and so again, one has to look what opportunities there are and kind of pursue them. So you have the second?
What is your vision for online education?
Well, the vision for online education is that, like anything else, has to be looked at carefully, has to be evaluated with respect to the institution and what else is going on. And then the right approach for that institution, for that place, has to be pursued and developed, and I feel that if one takes those steps, and in that order, it can be quite helpful and quite productive and quite good for our students as well as for the institution. There could be even some cost saving there and all of that. But we don't have to do it just blindly, or just because these guys did it this way, we should do it exactly the same way. But we have to learn from other people's experiences and then develop the version that we feel is the right version for UMKC. I think we have the head of online education here, so I better be careful what I say. Yes?
Sorry, to answer your question, what are the biggest challenges that you provost face? I can tell you that probably the major one is bleeding faculty.
Yes.
My unit has lost about half of its tenured faculty, for example.
Yes.
Other units are also.
So which unit is that, may I ask?
The School of Biological Sciences.
Yes. Yes.
And other units are also, I know there's a high level
Yes.
of faculty turnover.
Yes.
That's one of the challenges a new provost is going to
Yes.
face. How do you confront that?
Yes.
I don't expect an answer, but
Yes.
you monitor.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was earlier talking with the deans and all of that, you know, and I told them that, frankly, as a faculty member, you know, well, let's put it this way. I think faculty have not been getting raises for multiple years and all of that, you know. Excuse me?
That's not the only reason
I
people
see.
are leaving.
Okay, but sounds like it may be, so what are other reasons? Raises, not enough support, not enough,
Resources, other
Yeah.
resources,
Yeah.
additional
yes,
jobs that various vice chancellors dump on us.
I see.
And without any additional assistance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dissatisfaction here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we discussed that at length, you know, and one basic answer or response to that is that, you know, I don't know how to put this, but I think maybe here, I'll be frank, you know, it's best to know my points of view now and know what I think and what I don't think, you know. But I think now maybe there is a little bit too much of a silo mentality and structure here with respect to the schools. You know, and I was trying to be gentle about it when we talked with the deans, you know. And, you know, there has to be more collaboration and cooperation designed in such a way that while reducing some of the costs that otherwise they would have had, but also improving some of the programs and services and benefits to faculty, students, and everybody else, you know. And some of that, to a good extent, actually, we have been able to achieve at IUPUI after, and remember, we also have an RCM system, you know. After, at least in my experience and the initiatives I mentioned, after we developed our first and second initiative, and after a little time that people started seeing the benefits there, you know. So all the deans and all people like that, they're also very good, rational people, you know, but if you also present to them like a win-win situation scenario, they usually, maybe initially are really a little bit reluctant, you know, but eventually they come along, you know, and that would be so all right. So on one hand, through that mechanism, I mean, I want to optimize things, I want to save funding, which then we can take collectively as done in a family, you know, using the family analogy, you know, for the improvement of everybody, you know. And at the same time, that would not be my only approach. Okay, let's have partnerships and let's maybe optimize things, save some money, and we have a little bit more money here to do stuff. At the same time, I will be looking at the sources of revenue that the university has. Now, one source, there is more or less nothing we can do about it. But even then, I mean, that has to do with state funding. But even in that case, you know, sometimes by talking with state officials and all of that, actually some things can be done. You know, at least sometimes like one-time support or some other support. I have some experience with that in the past, you know. But the other sources of funding are tuition revenue, research, philanthropic. So I would carefully look at all of those areas. You know, and maybe some of them may not happen right away, but if you pursue multiple fronts, believe me, even initially something starts working and will give you some at least partial relief. And while things get kind of better and improved, then this other stuff will start coming to fruition. And before you know it, hopefully, we have turned the corner and we have a better situation.
think there are no other questions or comments. Thank you for coming, and one more round of applause for Kody.
Thank you. Really appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you.